Have you ever wondered how two mothers who lived 40 years apart could carry exactly the same fear? One became a mother in 2026, and the other became a mother more than 40 years ago. Okay, different generations, different hospitals, different lives. Yet, when I sat down with them and listened to their stories, I realized something that completely stopped me in my tracks. The stories were almost identical, and today I want to share the stories with you. When I met the first mother, the baby was barely 2 months old. She looked exhausted, not because she didn't love her baby. In fact, every time she looked at the little one, her face softened. Her eyes sparkled like, the look every mother has. And the second mother I met long ago, many years ago. She too was young when she gave birth to her baby. And when we spoke about her child, her face lit up exactly the same way. Different decades, same love. Because love has never changed for mothers, for their children. As I listened to both of them, I realized something. Just for a moment, their smiles disappeared. Their eyes filled with fear and worry. I didn't ask them about breastfeeding. I didn't ask them about their feeding schedules. I just asked them what was the first day after the baby was born like. The first mother became quiet. She said the baby was taken away from her after birth. She didn't know what to do. Nobody explained her anything. She just waited. And the second mother smiled sadly because her family wasn't with her. She was alone and she didn't know what to do. The baby cried, she herself cried, and nobody was there to help her. And she didn't know what the baby needed. This made me think about something beautiful the nature has designed. Whenever nature creates a new life, it doesn't stop there. Nature also prepares the perfect food for the baby inside the same mother's body. Even before the baby is born, the mother's body is already getting prepared to produce milk. Almost as if the nature is talking to the mother and telling her, don't worry, I have already arranged everything your baby needs. Isn't that incredible? There is another beautiful gift that nature has given us, the first hour after the birth. We call it the golden hour. Why is it golden? Because during that first hour, most babies are naturally alert. They are awake, they are searching, they are ready to go to their mother's breast. That first hour often becomes the beginning of a lifelong relationship with the breastfeeding, the mother, and the child. It's a bonding which stays, but only if someone supports the mother. Neither of these mothers knew about the golden hour. Nobody had told them. When a few weeks passed, I asked the mothers, how was breastfeeding going? So the mothers had the same sentence. They replied with the same sentence that I don't think I'm making enough milk. Now imagine that. 40 years apart, same words. My milk isn't enough. So I asked, what makes you feel that your milk is not enough? So the young mother told me that the baby cries all the time. So I smiled because I think every mother has heard this advice. The baby is crying too much, that means your milk is not enough. But the baby cries. That is what the baby is supposed to do. That is their language. The baby cries when they're hungry. The baby cries when they're sleepy. The baby cries when they're uncomfortable. And the baby cries when they want you to be close to them, when they want you to hold them to your heart. At just 2 months of age, crying is how babies communicate with the world. So I asked her, does your baby breastfeed during the day, during the night? She said yes. I asked, at least 8 to 12 times in 24 hours? She said more than that. I asked, is the baby swallowing properly? Does the baby latch properly? And she said yes. And the final question I asked her, is the baby urinating properly at least 6 to 10 times? She said yes. All her answers were yes. Then I told her, your answer sounds like a baby who is perfectly breastfed. So sometimes a mother does not need more milk. I think a mother just needs more confidence. The second mother had a completely different story. She had milk, plenty of milk, but her baby was born small. The baby couldn't suck properly. Nobody showed her how to express the milk. Nobody told her that even if her baby is tiny, is unable to suck properly, mother's milk can still reach the baby. Everyone around her just gave her one suggestion. Buy a formula. That's easier. She's losing weight. What else will you do? And slowly, the baby stopped breastfeeding completely. Not because the mother failed, not because the mother didn't love the child, but because nobody taught the mother what she needed to do. I sat quietly after hearing this story because I knew something the first mother did. I knew how this story ended. The tiny birth weight baby grew up overweight. The little baby struggled with food for years. That baby is sitting right in front of you today. That baby was me. And the young mother in the story was my mother. My mother didn't do anything wrong. My mother just did what every mother does. She was trying to protect me. She was trying to give me the best. She didn't fail. She simply never received the support she deserved. When she held me, she was afraid. I was tiny, I was fragile. She was so scared to even carry me in her arms. Nobody had prepared her. Nobody had shown her what to expect. But today, as a maternal and child nutritionist, I don't look back with blame because now I understand something important. Breastfeeding is natural, but learning how to breastfeed often requires support. And it does not come naturally to everyone and anyone. They need support. As I sat down with the mother in 2026, I realized something extraordinary. The story didn't have to repeat itself. This time, someone could just sit beside her. Someone could just answer her questions. Someone could reassure her. So we talked. We talked not only about breastfeeding, we talked about her confidence. We talked about trust, her family members. We talked about her body. We discussed why bottles were not needed at this stage, why feeding directly from the breast helped build more milk supply, why frequent breastfeeding is exactly what the young baby is supposed to do. And together with her husband, she decided to completely continue to breastfeed the baby without any top milk. This was not because I forced her. This was something because she understood what her body was already telling her, that she had enough of milk in her body for the baby. But this story is not only about the mothers. This story is about everyone standing around the mother. The husband, the grandmother, grandfather, the aunt, the nurse, doctor, pediatrician, the nutritionist, the Anganwadi worker, the Asha, A&M, every one of us. Because in that golden hour, a mother does not just need medical attention. She needs people around her who believe in her. She needs a husband who says, I'm there with you. She needs a grandmother who helps her and tells her, keep the baby close, feed her. She needs a nurse who helps her baby to latch. She needs a pediatrician who protects breastfeeding unless there is a genuine medical reason not to. An Anganwadi worker or Asha who visits her before delivery and after to reassure the family that frequent feeding is normal. Sometimes, one sentence spoken with confidence can protect months of breastfeeding. And one careless sentence, like your milk isn't enough, can just end it. Words count. So, this World Breastfeeding Week, I don't want you to remember the statistics. I want you to remember the two mothers. One lived more than 40 years ago, and the other lives today. They loved their babies with all their hearts. Only one difference. One mother didn't receive the support she needed, and the other finally did. And one family's story changed. Now imagine if together we help millions of mothers. Happy World Breastfeeding Week. And if you're watching this video as a father, grandmother, doctor, nurse, an Anganwadi worker, an A&M, an ASHA, a nutritionist, or anyone who supports a mother, then remember this. A mother feeds a baby, but it takes a community to protect breastfeeding. And sometimes that protection begins with you.